Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me, guys? Yeah, great. Thank you so much for joining this session, How Salesforce Uses Data Cloud to Increase Speed to Lead. I am Ako Wheeler. I'm a Director of Product Management here at Salesforce. My team manages an instance of Data Cloud called C360 Truth Profile Data Cloud for the Salesforce Enterprise. And we use that instance to do all of the customer-facing activations and customer insights-driven use cases. But before I get started, no Salesforce presentation is complete without a quick reminder to please make your purchasing decisions based on what is currently available. And also, I think you are good with the speakers, so I'm going to skip this. And here's a quick QR code for your survey. We really appreciate your input, so please take a quick survey if you have time at some point today. And thank you so much for joining. I know you have a lot of choices of sessions to choose from, and thank you so much also for being with us at Connections this week. We really appreciate your partnership, and thank you so much again for being great customers. All right, so before I dive into the content, I just want to kind of take a quick pause here. Who here is familiar with the concept called Salesforce and Salesforce? All right, I see some hands. Great. For those of you who don't know what we mean by Salesforce and Salesforce, that is when we use our own technology to run our own business at Salesforce. So this session is focused on how we use Data Cloud, AI, and flows. With that, though, comes the responsibility. We are often the first to test all of the features that come up, as well as launch. And then we have a feedback loop back to Data Cloud product and engineering team as kind of to present, the voice of an enterprise customer to continuously improve product. All right, with that, let's get into the session. So for the agenda, I'll first go through the overview of the solution that we've built, again, on Data Cloud, AI, and flows. And then I'll talk about how Salesforce processes leads, as well as the challenges we had with the previous solution, and the goals we set to achieve with the new solution, the current solution. And then I'll talk about the overview. I'll get into the overview of the solutions. I'll get into the details of how we are really leveraging Data Cloud, AI, and flows. And I'll touch on a high-level architecture a little bit as well. And then I'll do a quick demo to kind of walk you through behind the scenes how it's actually built. And then I'll circle back to kind of share the results we are seeing with the new solution, and then also share some of the lessons we learned along the way. So here is a slide that displays how Salesforce processes leads. So leads can come from many different places. Our job is to drive demand for Salesforce's business, right? So when customers takes an action, a hand raiser action, like downloading content or registering for an event or attending an event like this one, we create a lead record behind the scenes. Every lead record is put through the marketing automation engine up there, which is the very engine we're talking about today. And it goes through, gets evaluated against a qualification threshold. If it passes the threshold, it gets assigned to an SDR, Sales Development Representative, if it's a new account. If we know about the customers or an account, it gets assigned to a BDR, Business Development Rep. And if you're not quite sure if it's quite ready for sales outreach yet, it gets put into a marketing nurture queue, which is essentially an email queue. It is critical that we get the lead assignments done correctly because leads are assigned based on where the customers are located, the product they're interested in, as well as the industry they're in. So if we don't send the leads to the right sales representatives, they may not be able to answer the questions they have or provide relevant information, right? So again, it is critical that we make the right lead assignment decisions. However, as we grew the company over the last 25 years, right, through acquisitions and organically, it was becoming very, very hard for us to pivot quickly and act quickly when there are changing business needs. For example, if a region wants to change the assignment logic, things like that. It was taking a lot of time for us to really react fast. And it's because we had, with the previous solution, some of the major gaps that are listed here. So with the previous solution, the lead assignment decisions was made over, spread across 3 different systems. And it was taking, it was heavily customized. At the end of the day, I think it was over 2 million lines of custom code that we have to go through to really understand what it's even doing at that point. So whenever a business had a change request, it was taking really long time. We also weren't getting the leads into the hands of sales team fast enough. It was taking over 20 minutes end to end, meaning from the time customer takes a hand raise action to getting the leads to the hands of sales team. And then lastly but not least, we were also, we didn't have access to kind of the full customer view. So we were making lead assignment decisions with kind of like a partial information that we knew about customers, thus resulting in sometimes undesirable lead assignment decisions. And as there have been so many researches done, as you probably know, the speed to lead is really a key metric when you're talking about lead conversions, right? So we really wanted to make sure we had a really good solution. So thinking about that, about 1.5 years ago, we sat down and kind of really thought about, okay, what does a great solution look like? What success means to us? We really wanted to kind of, with the beginner's mindset, think through this, how we transform our process, how we how we innovate the real, updated solution. So those were the 3 goals that we came up. We wanted to have the faster handoff, meaning again, from marketing to sales. We wanted to bring down the over 20 minutes of the process down to less than 1 minute. We also wanted to improve productivity, meaning not only higher quality kind of lead assignment decisions, but also more equal distribution so that we're not bombarding the regions that are already busy with so many leads while drying up the other regions that needed more leads. And then also we wanted to be agile. Like I said, it was taking over 4 weeks to make small changes, and we really wanted to turn around those requests much faster. So translating those goals into kind of the technologies available at Salesforce, we landed on Data Cloud, AI, and Flow. So Data Cloud for that single view of the customers that we really needed. AI is for using the machine learning models to improve the lead assignment decisions and also the lead quality improvement. And then flows for handling the complex business logics that we wanted to navigate through quickly. So over the next few slides, I'm going to talk about the overview of the solution, but get into the details of each pillars. So for Data Cloud, we had, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, my team manages an instance of Data Cloud called C360. So at the time, we've been developing in this Data Cloud for probably 3 years at the time we started the project. So we had data streams coming in from CRM orgs, the internal orgs. So think of account, leads, contacts, opportunities, what have you. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Trailhead activities, as well as Google Analytics data. So we were already having about, those numbers on the slides that you see are kind of a snapshot of what we have today, but we had billions of records from, today it's almost 700 data streams. So we were already making our Data Cloud instance as a customer data hub. And we also were building segments and activating those segments in email channels as well as paid media. So we really thought that our Data Cloud was ready enough to take it to the next level in terms of our Salesforce and Salesforce success story. And also, if you recall, one of the issues we had with the previous solution was not having access to that holistic view, right? So tapping into Data Cloud, where we were already building it as a customer data hub, really allowed us to have access to the wealth of customer insights that were already available in Data Cloud. And then next is AI. So for AI, we're using two machine learning models. One is lead score, which ranks every lead in scale of 1 to 5. So this helps us focusing on higher quality leads when we make the assignment decisions. And the product interest score ranks every customer against 11 pre-selected Salesforce products based on the likelihood of them becoming a certain stage opportunity. So combining those really allowed us to have additional contextual and relevant information to enrich the role records that we get when the customer takes the hand raiser activity. But that's not all. Because those models are in Data Cloud already, we are able to use those in a multi-channel targeting. So we have segments that use those data models for paid media as well as email activations. And then the last one is Flow. So the Flow, right, is a very good automation tool that we have, and it's an automation tool that's in your control, meaning you can set it as event-based or schedule-based. We use our flows are set up, as the event triggered record triggered flows. It also gives us the agility and the flexibility that we needed, which means through the UIs and reusable components as well as subflows, we are able to react to the changing needs of business much faster. And also it's highly performant, right? So it definitely meets the scale that we need as an enterprise B2B business. So putting that all together, this is kind of the simplified architecture. So as I mentioned earlier, when a hand raiser activity happens, in the back end, it creates a unique transaction record, a lead record. And that record is sent to a CRM org where Data Cloud is, sitting. And then for Data Cloud, because we get all of that data that I just showed on the earlier slide, we're continuously crunching those data behind the scenes using data transforms to create kind of the curated, pre-calculated data sets that lead routing can kind of look up while the lead records come through. And then we also call Amazon SageMaker to get a lead score, all real time. And then finally, all of that information, so the lead records as well as the enriched record, hits flows where all the assignment decisions are made for all of the lead records. And then once we have the updated lead record, it's sent to another CRM org where sales teams primarily operates in. And we update the leads, contacts, and campaign members' records in those orgs. But then that's not where it stops. Actually, because we have the CRM connectors connected to that org, all of that record flows through to Data Cloud. So we have that kind of full cycle going on there to update all of the records. All right, I'm going to do a quick demo here. So first record I want to show you is called ROE request. ROE stands for rules of engagement. And this record essentially captures the contextual information as well as the campaign information from the lead. So you can see which URL this came from. And also one of the ways that we enrich the role record is this truth profile activity 14 days. This is essentially number of the unique pages this lead had over the last 14 days. And that's an insight that's coming from the C360 instance of Data Cloud. So to do that, I'm going to quickly show you, this is a data lake object for the website engagement. So essentially Google Analytics data. And then just in case you haven't seen, this is what the mapping looks like in Data Cloud. So what's on the left is the raw record, the raw data. And then what's on the right is what's mapped in our Data Cloud instance. And then going to the flows, as I mentioned, we have a record triggered flow that gets created every time the ROE request record is created or updated. This flow is triggered when a record is created or updated. And then you can see that we are using a lot of subflows. And one of the subflows that are key to this decision tree is, whether it goes to BDR or SDR. So the subflow of that looks like this. This is the SDR subflow. Oops. If I can show you, here you go. So as you can see, there's a quite complex decision-making logics going on here. And then last piece I want to show is this is the view of the lead record that our sales team actually views. So you can see, hopefully you can see the lead score here that is added here. All right, so going back to the results, we have seen really fantastic results with the new solution. The over 20-minute speed to lead that was taken is now down to 20 seconds, which is great. Speed of change-wise, what was taking 4 weeks for us to make when the business wanted, logic changes made, it's now down to days. And then also, most importantly, the lead quality enhancement has been wonderful. We actually heard from our VP of lead operations saying initially he was a little bit worried. He actually even said he was a little bit panicked when he saw the numbers of the lead assignments, went down. But what happened on the flip side was actually the pipe and ACV are going up. So it's actually the new solution is doing exactly what we wanted it to do, which is, send fewer but higher quality leads that can actually be converted into an opportunity to really bring more pipe and ACV. Oops, sorry. Here you go. The few key lessons that we learned along the way. So keeping it simple is really the way to go. We actually had to revisit the architecture before we landed on the simple architecture before. But the current solution architecture really allows us to kind of get the benefits from each of the components. And then optimizing for one metric at a time is also a key metric, I would say, because focusing on the speed to lead, the goal to bring from over 20 minutes down to less than a minute, really allowed us to see, okay, what needs to be part of MVP, what can be a fast follower, so really made it easier for us to make that decision. And then the last advice we have is that whenever you can, definitely maximize relevance with AI. In our cases, we started with two machine learning models, as you saw. Now, normally this is the last slide I have, but since the introduction of Agentforce last year, we've been a little bit busy integrating the agentic layer into our solutions. So I wanted to definitely wanted to talk about that. So where we embedded our agentic layer is the marketing nurture. If you recall, this is where the low qualified leads go to kind of have an email outreach for the customer. So what we did here was we built this marketing nurture agent who really focuses on the low scoring leads with the personalized email outreach, with ultimately trying to convert that into a qualified lead so we can send them to sales representatives. So this is what the email looks like. Basically, we are using the contextual information, like what product they are interested in, what industry they're in, what company they're with, to really have that kind of initial outreach. And over time this year, we're trying to make the email a little bit more personalized in terms of the industry and the product they're interested in, and make it more interactive, meaning if they reply to this email, we can actually respond. And then also we can add the ability to schedule a meeting with the sales representative. So we definitely wanted to touch on how we are kind of evolving our solution over time to continually enhance and enrich the features. All right, I think that's all I had today. Thank you so much for joining. And if you again have time, please take a quick survey. Thank you.